You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense. Keep going. More. No, stop!
Well, good day and welcome to the second edition of the 2022 football season's coaches show, Red Raider coaches show, with Coach Mark Wilson, myself, Brent Johnson, hosting. I want to thank you for joining us this week. We've got a few things we want to discuss and talk about before we get to this week's matchup against Berrien County. First thing, Coach, I want to mention, which is a big deal, feeding these guys.
No doubt.
We definitely want to give credit to these the businesses and industries and individuals that are helping provide these meals each week, and that plays a huge part. I know we also provide some stuff for them during the day. You can maybe mention that in just a second, but breakfast this past Friday was RSB Forestry, Taylor Egg Farm, and DLE and Sons. The pregame meal was brought by New Vision Church, and the postgame meal, which is also important, those guys are hungry after they play, the Medicine Cabinet. So we thank all of these individuals and these businesses and industries for playing a huge role in helping to keep these guys with plenty of energy and plenty of food. So tell us a little bit about what they are able to eat during the day.
Yeah, during the day, our cafeteria staff helps us out with peanut butter sandwiches, and then the hospital and some of the people helps out with some insurers that we feed the protein because we work out and keep them during the day ready to go for practice, and just keep building muscle and body, keep the nutrition. That's a big part of it nowadays that people used to not fool around with too much, but now the nutrition, getting the calories back in them where they can build up. And then, our pregame meals or breakfast, starting with breakfast in the morning, getting them started. A lot of kids skip breakfast, so, that's a big meal that, we try to get our guys, make sure they're eating in the morning, get them going. And Joe and Heath and all, Coach Boudreaux and all them cook for us, and whoever else they can get in there. Right. It's real good, and do it over First Baptist. And then the pregame meal, we had a great pregame meal every time. Come in there, have a speaker come in and do a good job for us. But all those things help in getting ready for the thing. Usually we try to eat about 3.5 hours before the game. Usually that's when it'll kick in then, so it takes that to digest. And then after the game too, you want them to go ahead and start building back up after they get through and breaking their body down and doing all that. So every bit of that helps, no doubt.
Well, and you're right, this nutrition, probably the last 10 years it's really caught on. I know a lot of bigger schools that can afford these types of things, they have a program.
They do.
Program, like Colquitt counties and those types that, their football players eat separate from everybody during the day, and they just, all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's right.
So, but again, that's part of it. When you're lifting weights and trying to build mass and muscle, you got to have some protein. You got to have hydration and all that throughout the day. So we're glad that we're able to provide that. And the lunchroom staff helps with that as well. I want to give a shout out to them. Coach, we're going to run right into just start talking about some football stuff. Last week I had you talk a little bit about our offensive scheme and our defensive scheme, and you touched on the coordinators, the defensive coordinator, which is Thad, and your son Matt is the offensive coordinator. Tell us a little bit about who the lines coaches are, both sides of the ball, and each position coach there.
Noble Coley, who's also the head baseball coach. Noble, when I came in, got to meet, and great guy, and he had coached at Coffee, the offensive line over there before, and so was able to get him in the fold, and he does a real good job with the line. We're young on the offensive line, so that's a real hard job because you're trying to get those fundamentals down that maybe they hadn't gotten or trying to learn, and it's a work in process. He's probably got the hardest job, to be honest with you, and anytime offensive lines is usually the hardest one fundamentally wise. Running back, Reed Burkett does our running backs on the offense, and Reed, I think, played here and teaches here, and is real good with the kids, and has a lot of knowledge in that, and does a good job with the kids there. My son Ty does the receivers and the kickers, so he does that. So he played receiver for me in high school, so he knows all about that. And doing it. So what we've taught in the past. So that's good. On the defensive side, Matthew Beecher coached our defensive line. He does a great job there, and he came over from the middle school staff last year, but real good detail-oriented and good with the kids. And we've gotten so much better even the last 3 or 4 weeks, and all the summer on the defensive line. inside linebackers is Tron Folsom, and Tron played here.
Yeah.
And went off to college and played, and came back, and this is his first year coaching and teaching, so he's got a unique perspective for the kids. You know, they see where he's been, and
That's
he's
right.
sort of been there pretty recently, and that helps out, you know, for them, and he does a great job. And then Coach Wilder, who's also our special teams coordinator, Austin Wilder, he does our outside linebackers, and then Coach Thad does our secondary, and then Matt does the quarterback. So got a real good staff, young guys, like I say, a lot of enthusiasm. I'll be honest with you, I thought this week's practices went great because they did a great job and got after the guys and sort of got us, you know, what we need to work on.
Right.
And we had a real good couple of days of practice this week.
Coach, that's great to hear. You know, coming off of two losses, two close,
Yeah.
tough losses. I know, you know, we got two or three football players here that are in our gallery, in our audience today. And I'm kind of speaking to the crowd and to them. I had a conversation with Marcus already about a player or two, but the kids don't see moral victories. They
That's
see
right.
wins and
That's
losses.
right.
They see that
That's
scoreboard at the end of the game, oh, we lost. But there's more to it than just losses. I saw a tremendous jump even from the first game.
No doubt.
And improvement, and that's what we're looking for is improvement and their competitive nature. They did, again, I was so proud of them that first game, not quitting. We talked about that last week, keeping that team out of the end zone. We could have just sat on our heels and let them score on one of those last two plays. They didn't. Played hard last week down to the last play, you know, and that's all we want. And the wins will come. Everybody likes to win. We want to win. But as long as we're improving, man, that's all we can ask for.
Well, it's a process. Like I've told people all the time, building a program's a process, and you got to get there. You got to have it. Experience is a great teacher, and we don't have a lot of it.
That's right.
So we're trying to learn it on the run,
That's
and you can't just snap your fingers and say, "Well, I've played 10 ball games." Well, you hadn't, you know. So most of our guys hadn't played a lot of games. So I think we got 15 or 16 that's actually got a lot of varsity experience or played a little bit at least. And so that's what we're learning, and learning those little things in a tight ball game like that.
Sure.
But you know, if you give you a shot at winning there at the end, you know, that's what you want, and they'll start coming. They just got to keep working, and it's hard for young guys and for us older guys too to do that. But I've been through it so many times that I've seen it over and over again. What I liked this week was, you know, we took what we did wrong, we corrected it, and guys are working hard to get better, and that's what's got it. I told them a story, I think, a couple of weeks ago about Nick Saban winning to Alabama. Well, they don't realize that first year, I think Louisiana, Lafayette beat them in the first ball game. So it's a process that you got to get through. And, you know, the weight room's a big key, too. One of our strongest guys on the team, I heard him say Sunday, they came in Sunday afternoon, and we got several of them that come up and want to watch the film. So coaches, after we're meeting, we sort of meet with them and show them the film. I heard one of them say, "Man, I thought I was strong," you know, and then he hit a couple of those guys. So they've been in that weight room, you know, most of them guys 3 or 4 years, and we're just starting to catch up to that. So it just takes time, but great attitude and great effort, and that'll pay off.
Yeah, it's going to pay off, and that's what, again, you keep talking about a process, and you got to show a little patience, and just execute just a little better each week, and you know, it's going to happen. Well, Coach, let's roll right on into, well, I want to talk a little bit about that weather delay we had the other night. I knew we was going to try to do everything we could to get that game in. It was driving down 2.5 hours, and we ended up playing in the rain most of the time. But what kind of goes on in the locker room when you have to wait an hour and a half? Well, how do you keep the guys?
Yeah, you have a routine you go through, and that's another thing about experience and the process of going through that, because you don't, no. Luckily, during our scrimmage game, we had that sort of process we had to go through a little bit, because we didn't get to play it, but we thought we were.
Right.
Went out and warmed up, but in this instance, you just sort of get them together and sort of refocus and say, hey, we're going to play the game. We took them back in and got them off their feet and tried to get them concentrate on what was going on, just relax, and then try to key back up again. And about 30 minutes before the game, they said, hey, we're going to get to play it. So then we started going back in the process of doing that abbreviated warm-up, because usually you have, at least an hour's warm-up or 45 minutes at least to warm up, and I think we got 15. So, and those are some things. But that's just, like I say, that's part of the process of going through and learning that experience, where next time it's not such a, a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Well, this week, well, I tell you what, let's talk just a few minutes about the Scriven game. I thought we competed very well again. I thought our defense played extremely well. Offense, we're on the cusp.
We are.
You said it on the air. We were just a few inches away, a few feet away on a couple different plays, running plays and pass plays and such. But what was your main takeaways from that?
Well, that's the thing. Our defense is playing great. They doing a real good job of getting better every week with fundamentals, and we've got good team speed over there and some strength up front. Most of our older guys, I'll be honest, we got mostly seniors and juniors playing defense, so that's where we try to put our older guys over there to do it. I told them even at practice yesterday, we could have a great defense if we just keep working at it, keep working and keep doing those things. I really believe that, and defense wins championships. I mean, you got to build it starting there. And the offensive wise, we started, I think, 4 sophomores on offense. So our biggest deal there, we would pick up 30 yards and then get a penalty. Yeah. So, that's just things that you gotta work through and try to cut those down. And then the mistakes, I don't think they'd have scored if we hadn't had a turnover and gave them great field position down there. I don't think they'd have scored in the game. So those are things you can look back at and say, hey, if we take care of these things, we can get there. But we're close on offense. The rain hurt us a little bit. We'd spent a lot of time during the week on throwing the ball a little bit more, because we felt like we had an advantage on the perimeter a little bit, and we knew they were strong in the middle. Right. And but we had to slug it out with them, and our kids did that and did a good job with that. But the rain got us a little bit with that, but thought we handled the ball well as far as the rain and things like that. But that did hamper us a little bit, opening up a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention earlier. I haven't seen anything, and I think I may have been talking to Trent about this the other day. Sometimes on the football field on the nights, you just get whipped.
That's right.
There's certain positions you just can't match up with another team. Haven't seen that yet. The things that have hindered us are fixable.
No doubt.
Fix them during the week, like you said. You had some good practices, and you just keep working hard at them. But again, on occasion you'll get whipped.
That's right.
Either the whole game, the whole team, or whatever, or a few positions, and ain't nothing you can do about it physically, whatever. But I've yet to see that, and that's encouraging. Again, there's things that it's just experience.
That's right.
Like you said.
Exactly.
Well, we got another big game this week. We're traveling to Nashville, Georgia, to Berrien County. Been a couple years since we've been over there, and I think we've had to play them here the last 2 years. Maybe even last year it was canceled. One of the years it was postponed because of COVID or something. But a couple years since we've been there, so we're looking forward to. They have a stadium very similar to ours. Have you been over there?
I haven't been there.
I think they may have had the same architect. Their visitor side is actually a little bigger. Have a press box just for the visitors, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's nice.
We won't even talk about that.
Yeah, don't get into that.
Yeah, that's an inside joke. It's not a joke, but anyway, tell us a little bit about Berrien. What can we expect?
Yeah, they've their coach has been there 4 or 5 years, and you can tell their kids know the system and know what to do. They're strong, big and strong, and got a few weapons. We're gonna have to play real well to go over there and beat them, but feel good about it. But they got a good ball club, got a good running back. They got a receiver, 6'3" kid that they put in there in the Wildcat, and against Clinch, he ran about a 70-yarder.
Wow.
So they got some speed and got some size. Their defensive line's real big and strong, and so our offensive line have to come ready to play, and I think they will. And like I say, we've had good practice, so hopefully we'll play well.
Well, good. Any major adjustments, changes? Injuries? I think we're pretty.
Yeah,
good shape.
we're pretty good. We got nicked up here and there. And that's just part of the season. And that's another thing you got to experience is playing hurt sometimes, or playing injured. If we always tell them if they're injured, the trainer will get you out, and we're not going to do it. But sometimes you got to go through little bangs and bruises, and and we're dealing with that a little bit. But seems like everybody's in good shape. If you know, had a little sickness running through this week, everybody's got to go through. So,
That's right.
but hopefully that'll hold off and get everybody over there.
We talked about, you know, we just mentioned like injuries and stuff, and I was having a conversation with another guy in the hallway earlier. You know, the season's long, you get 10-game seasons, and I've often wondered why region games, you know, in our case, we only have 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, typically you have 4 or 5 on average year. Why do we wait till the end of the season to play those big games that's playoff worthy? You know, these things we're playing now, they're just basically scrimmages.
That's
ultimately,
right.
you know, it goes
That's
against your record, I guess, but it has nothing to do whether we make the playoffs.
That's right. That's right.
And or what
Or
seed
where you play the state
where we
championship.
play
That's
that.
right.
That's
That's
right. So, and I often wondered why we wait till the end of the season to play those most important games when your key guys, like these 3 guys here, could potentially get hurt. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have them
That's
available
right.
for those
That's
games.
right.
But you know, again, that's just one of those quandaries.
They've been doing that forever, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
They've always done it, but that's just part, like I said, the process of learning what to do, and you got to sort of gauge toward those games, you know. And so the best team I ever coached, probably, and went the furthest I ever had, was 0-3 to start the year. But at the end of the year, we got rolling, and it was like that, and got into the region play, which those are the games that get you to state playoffs and get you to state championship.
That's right.
I know Thomas County Central a few years ago, they were 5-5 and won a state championship, ended up 10-5. So you know, it's just one of those things. You got to keep believing, keep working, and something will click. And just like I heard a Bobby Bowden thing, a special, and Bobby Bowden's one of my, I guess, mentors or heroes, I guess, looking up at coaching. But I heard him say, you know, you can't worry about the wins. You just play your best, and you know, everything will take care of itself. You don't worry about mistakes, don't worry about wins. You just play the best you can play, and that's what we try to get.
And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. You know, it's hard to look these guys in the face and say, "Listen, that was a good loss," and I, you know, and, you know, that's a horrible thing to say. But you know, you got to look at your individual self, look at the team as a whole. Again, that continued improvement. And that's great advice from Bob Bowden. He's a fine man. You know, he was very successful. He has a lot of what's the word? I can't even think of it. He's got a lot of experience.
No doubt, no doubt.
Great,
Great.
Coach, we're glad you've joined us again today. A little bit shorter show today for a couple of different reasons, but no break. I want to thank all of our sponsors, and you'll see those here in just a little bit. I'll have them before and after the show posted on the video. But again, I want to thank you again for joining us on this week's edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show. Myself, Brent Johnson, along with head coach Mark Wilson. We encourage you to make that trip over to Berrien County Friday night. Those of you that normally might stay home and potentially watch it live on the NFHS, they're not allowing us to go this game, and I'm not trying to say that in a way to throw them under the bus. It is their option to allow a team another school to come in and live broadcast. Only in the playoffs, there is a contractual agreement with the GHSA and the NFHS that allows us to do that. However, this is the first time this has happened, so we're a little discouraged. They're only allowing radio, and you can tune into that at 104.3 from our local radio station, Mr. Paul Dean. I want to thank him for his support of Red Raider football as well. So again, if you can make that trip, please come out and be loud and proud for these boys. If you can't tune into the radio, we look forward to a great showing Friday night, and we look forward to the next coaches show.